This is Ralph Greenwood. This is my entry for the Down and Dirty Weathering Contest, sponsored by Ron Marsh, cooperation with Emeril.com, and, well, no, that correct me, it's sponsored by Midwest Model Railroad. It's hosted by Ron Marsh in cooperation with Emeril.com. And this is my intended victim. This is a Model Power crane and tender. I believe this is a Brown hoist model, but I'm not sure exactly. I've looked around and I don't really see any place where they mention a prototype. But and I'm going to put this in Penn Central colors, and part of my painting I will be using on the crane. I will be using two different colors. I'll get into that later. Let's get this on the track. Okay, this crane has some Rapido couplers on it. These are coming off, and I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use these trucks and mount some Microtrains couplers body style. I think that can be done. So I'll just shear these off and I'll mount a Microtrains at either end of this. I will paint it in Penn Central livery. I have a picture coming up that will show the paint scheme that I'm going to use. Okay. I also have a picture of what I think may be a prototype of this, but I'm not sure. But this pretty much looks like a Brown hoist crane. I know that Penn Central did have Brown hoist cranes. They did have some in their inventory. They acquired them from Pennsylvania Railroad. Okay, there's the crane part. And on the crane, I'm going to use this is going to be black. The tip of this boom will be orange. I will paint that orange. And I'll have the Penn Central, I will show you the paint scheme here, but this will be black. This will be this carriage, the body part, that'll be black too. I will be undercoating with a little lighter color of black, and then I will remove some of the paint to simulate wear. And you'll see some of that wear in this I have a picture of a Bay City crane that's a Penn Central livery that I'll show you later. Okay, now that's for the crane. Okay, and next I'm going to show you the prototype picture, and then I will show you the picture of the crane in Penn Central livery, so you get some idea what colors it's going to be painted. Of course, it doesn't really matter because this is about weathering. Okay, now this is a Brown hoist crane. This is somewhat similar to the model that I have. You can see it has the big hook. This is the one for Canadian National. It has both hooks. One hook picks up more than the other one does. And you see there's a little bit of weathering on here, but this is the closest thing I could find to a prototype photo, and it may or may not be. But I know that Penn Central had Brown hoist in their inventory, so there's that. This is a picture of the Bay City crane and Penn Central livery. This is what my paint scheme will look like. Penn Central logo there. I believe that's the Bay City, or the numbers there. This part will be painted orange. That'll be painted orange. And if you can see here, some of this detail. Now, not the steam, I'm not going to get that, but where you can see where this emblem has ran, and some of the numbers have ran, and just weather on it. This is a Bay City crane, by the way. This isn't a Brown hoist, but and if you look at this picture real close, you will notice there is a Penn Central crane tender on the other side here. If you look underneath this turret, you could see the side of it, and I believe you could see the corner of the enclosure. Okay, now here is the crane tender. Now, they call this a crane tender, but to me, this does not look like a crane tender at all, and I do have a picture of one. I found a prototype picture of an old Penn Central, a tender that was once a Penn Central, in the Penn Central inventory. Most crane tenders have an enclosure on one side. This does not. This looks more like a car that they used to haul axles on, which they would hook that up to a crane if they were loading up axles and whatever, but I suppose in some ways it is a crane tender. But now right here, we've got some simulated wood here, and I might smooth this down a little bit, okay, and I might use some like a dark brown wash, and then use a little lighter and paint it like wood, and then I'm going to paint it Penn Central green over it, and then I will wear off some of the paint to reveal the wood. So that will look like weathering there, and here on the sides, they've got what looks like a piece of iron that runs across the top. I might get some rust on that. I might use a little bit of weathering powder here and there. My weathering powders, I'm going to be getting some from Bragdon Enterprises, and I will probably use some here. I might paint this bottom here black. And these, I'm going to get new wheel sets. I'm just going to get some Microtrains wheel sets with their Microtrains couplers on them to replace those. I will also use probably use some of the powder on the crane also. Okay, so that is now what I will do, what I'm going to do, I have to take all this apart and paint it, and I will show it again in the Penn Central livery before I begin the weathering process. So that way my painting is not, I mean, I wanted to show the stock item, you know. Model Power, it's not very highly detailed. It was kind of like an inexpensive thing. I mean, I got this on eBay for $2-3 bucks, and I have not done much weathering at all. As a matter of fact, let me see here. Okay. There. Now can you see on these, I painted a little rust on here, and I put some black paint in there. That's about the extent of my And I did this engine like 20 something years ago. That's how long I've been out of this. So, you know, not up to snuff exactly. I don't really feel like, but I'm doing this for fun. Okay, this is a picture of a Penn Central. This is a former Penn Central tender. And now, I won't be weathering to this extent, but this is an example of the Penn Central paint when it fades, how it looks. Mine won't be this faded. But as you can see, there's handrails on this. There's this enclosure. The sideboards are a little different. These stanchions don't run the whole length of this car. And from the looks of it, this looks like it has some old journal bearings on it. I'm not sure. But there's the prototype of there's the real thing of the Penn Central Crane tender. That's what a real one looks like. Okay, as far as paint goes, I've got Harvest Orange, Bright Red, King's Gold, Jet Black. Now I am going to get another color of black. And I've got Nutmeg Brown, the ostentatious Burnt Sienna, the infamous Brown Oxide, Misty White and White, Kelly Green, which I should be able to mix that into some Penn Central paint, and some multi-surface Candy Apple. But the only other thing I'm gonna do, these are my paints. The only thing I need to get another one of these it's a different color of black. You know, I don't need gray because I got black and white. So, and I've got, if I want to make the rest redder, I've got Candy Apple and I got Bright Red. So, there's my paint. I did have some brushes over here. I think they're back behind here. Yeah. Oh well. There's the paint.